What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the Sling'n Proffet podcast. Prophet, I can't believe I think this is week 7 for us now already, isn't it? Seven. Time is flying by. I'll tell you what, we are in playoff week. We got a lot of exciting things going on where I'm adding notes. Prophet, I'm adding notes into this thing right up until we go on at showtime today. Today and this week so far has been full of news in the sports world. Coaching world, NFL world. Like I said, we're in playoff week. We had a crazy slate of games this past weekend. Prophet, what's going on, man? How was your week? And talk to us a little bit about what you did and how you kind of watched all these games and took everything in this weekend.
Wow, this is the best time of the year and the worst time of the year, because we're in the playoffs. But that's telling us also that we only have 4 more weeks of football, which really sucks. This past weekend was crazy. Again, it's been a crazy year football-wise. Things happening we're going to get into. We got a great show tonight. I'm happy to be able to be back here again this evening. And what I would like to ask you, Slinger, is if you ever hear me complain again about a bad game on Thursday night, slap me.
Why is that?
Well, because bad games on Thursday night are better than no games on Thursday night. This past Thursday was terrible. I was so looking forward to football, and there's no football tonight.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. To kind of touch on what you said, like it's a great time of year. It's exciting, but like Monday night was a buzzkill for me because Monday night was the national championship for college football, and now college football is over. And football is like the longest layoff sport that there is, I think. For off season wise. So you hit the nail on the head. It's an exciting time of year, but it's a sad time of year. But we're not going to dwell on that right now because it's not over yet, Prophet, and we got a lot to talk about. But we always start off our week with kind of just hitting on a couple topics that either stuck out to us or whatever it might have been for that week. And I want to touch on some things tonight to get started here in our kicking it off segment. One thing that I saw this week, Prophet, and I don't know if you got a chance to see it, on Sunday, but did you get the chance to see Arthur Smith, the former head coach of the Falcons, kind of give it to the head coach of the Saints at the end of the game there at the middle of the field handshake?
Yeah, I most certainly did, and after reading into things and learning more and more about it, it's kind of like going back and forth with my feelings on it.
All right, well, before we talk about your feelings, let's check out the video here. And I'll kind of preface it with, the Saints were up big in this game. They line up in victory formation on the goal line. And for those of you who don't know, victory formation is a formation basically where the offense is going to line up and take a knee. They're either conceding defeat, but usually it means they're kneeling out the game because they have the game won and they don't want to, get anybody hurt. And the defense isn't going to stop them, and the game's going to end. So they get the ball they have the ball down on the goal line, and they line up in victory formation, which again is assumed to be a formation that ends the game or ends the half or whatever it might be. And let's kind of take a look at what happened here.
So, there's a lot of factors that cause you to not be successful. And
career. Oh, and Arthur Smith's hot. That Dennis Allen scored a touchdown at the end. He is hot. He said, "What are you doing?" And he's going at Dennis Allen. I understand that. You can read his lips, and and I think he's got a right, by the way, to do that. The Saints did not.
Now, you see the clip. They hand the ball off to Jamal Williams, who there's a backstory to this, and we'll get into it. And I'm going to talk about it because I'm going to dive into this a little bit because it was very intriguing to me, this whole situation. So Arthur Smith goes off and says to Dennis Allen at the handshake, he says, "What the F are you doing? That's F and BS." And Dennis Allen responds to him something along the lines of, you know what, you're right, or it absolutely is, or I absolutely agree. That's because Dennis Allen had no idea that this was going to happen. And I don't know if you know this, Prophet, but in the post-game interview, the press interviews Jameis Winston, and he said that as a team, collectively in the huddle, they made the decision to change the play and give the ball to Jamal Williams, who had 17 touchdowns last year and led the NFL and doesn't have a touchdown at all this year, and wanted to get him a touchdown. So they made that decision to run up the score out of the victory formation, not out of a regular offensive formation, but out of the victory formation to try and deceive the Saints, or I'm sorry, the Falcons. And they gave Jamal Williams a touchdown. Knowing that, and I don't know if you knew that, Prophet, but knowing what you know now, does that change your viewpoint on this whole situation?
No, I mean the only part of it that I didn't like was the fact that they went up there in victory formation and the deceit of it. Okay, I have absolutely no problem with them scoring a touchdown at that point, for the reason that they're doing it is to give Williams a touchdown, his first of the year, like you said, and the announcer at the end says, yeah, Arthur Smith has all the reason to be pissed off and all. Well, guess what? No, he doesn't. Yeah, they're okay. BP just stop it. Exactly.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Prophet, and I'm with you, BP. If you don't like it, stop it. This is the NFL. You don't have to make friends. It's a rivalry game. You don't have to complain about running up the score. This isn't, patty cake with your stepbrother. But the fact that they went up there in victory formation bothers me, because now you can get somebody hurt. All right.
Right, because
and I'm talking to BP, and I'm talking to BP because he's watching. But BP, as an athlete, as a football player, you go up there and you go into victory formation. You're not really going, or you're not really paying attention. You're not going 100%. And now you got some guys blocking, or some offensive lineman trying to block you, and a running back running full speed to try and get a touchdown, and you're not ready for it. Somebody can get hurt, man. So I didn't like it from that regard. I didn't like Jameis Winston. I don't know, man. I can't watch that guy give a friggin' post-game interview anymore. He's completely out of his mind. But anyway, it doesn't change the fact that, we'll talk about it later, but it doesn't change the fact that Arthur Smith got fired after the game. It wasn't because of that. That touchdown wasn't going to save his job. Arthur Smith is no longer the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, but we're going to move on.
That's what I was just going to say, Arthur. If it bothered you that much, take it out on him next year when you play him. Oh, you don't have a job.
Yeah, well,
get a life, Arthur.
Prophet, we had one of the great running backs, probably. Well, we'll talk about it. Derrick Henry signs off here. I'm going to show you guys the clip real quick of him addressing the fans here in Tennessee.
Titan fans, I just want to say thank you for the greatest 8 years of my life, the ups and the downs. Y'all been there for everything, through the adversity, watching me grow as a person and a player, always supporting me. I love y'all. I love seeing the 22s in the stadium.
Prophet, what do you think about Derrick Henry? Summarize Derrick Henry's career to you. Obviously it's been 8 years. I'm not saying his career is over, but it appears that his career is over in Tennessee. But 8 years for a running back is a long friggin' time. Just talk to me a little bit about where you wrap up his career and his production throughout his entire longevity, not just this year.
Well, you know what, Slinger? I mean, for probably a good 6 years, he was one of the, if not the top backs in the league, which that in its own right is saying a lot for the guy. The past couple of years, even though they have been more productive than most backs in the league, they haven't been Derrick Henry, years. But this guy's a class act, man. He really is. I liked him coming out of college. Fortunately, he came to Tennessee and played, and I got to see him a whole lot more than most did. I I thought it was great. I mean, it's definitely saying that he's not going to be back, and that's sad. But he's going to go somewhere and he's going to help somebody. He's going to help a team for sure.
I don't. I I want to agree with you, and I do agree with you about him being a class act. And BP, I agree with you chiming in here in the chat saying that he's been their entire offense for the past 8 years, which I agree with because I've never been a big Tannehill fan, and they've kind of gone through a quarterback cycle down there where they never found the right fit. And Henry was that rock, and he was the solid main point of that offense for a long time. And Proffet, I think you're right. He had a really good 5 or 6 years, but he just hasn't been himself the past couple of years. I don't, definitely this year I can't, and I'm not great with stats and before that, but I don't remember what he did last year. But I don't remember him having a great year last year.
For Derrick Henry, they weren't great years, but the past 2 years have been as good a years as 3/4 of the backs in the league. Not more than that. I'm
just used to, you draft Derrick Henry in your fantasy league and you're getting 40 points a game without even blinking. So,
right.
But yeah, Henry signs off there. They're going through a lot of changes down in Tennessee, and we'll talk about that when we talk about our coaching changes coming up here a little bit. But I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on Henry because obviously, coming out of Alabama, a great product there, and he's been fun to watch over the few years, over the last near decade. But like I said, the longevity of a running back shelf life is not as high as it once used to be. But talking about another guy who signed off. Did you see Justin Fields' post-game press conference?
Yeah, I saw it. Okay.
We talked about it a little bit last week about whether the Bears are going to draft a quarterback. Let me just show you this. It's about 25 seconds.
What I did do, and I gave him my all. So whether it's here or not, I have no regrets. Shout out to you guys for making my job a little bit harder. But just to the city of Chicago, love y'all. Appreciate the fans and the support from all the Bears. In case this is my last rodeo with y'all, and just appreciate y'all for everything. So thanks.
Talk about, and forgive me for being insensitive, but talk about being mentally soft. Thank you guys for making my job a little bit hard. Dude, you're an NFL quarterback. All right. If you can't go out there and answer a couple tough questions from the media, maybe you should be rethinking a different profession. But other than that, that sounded like another guy who's signing off, who just played his last game for a franchise. But we talked about it with Lamar last year on the Blitz. You don't know that. You don't know where he's going to be. You don't know what this team wants to do with you. You don't know if they're going to trade you or draft a quarterback or whatever it might be. But I don't know. I don't know what provoked that press conference or that speech. It just came off as a little bit weird to me. What do you think?
Well, there's a major difference between Justin Fields and Lamar. Okay, the people in Baltimore wanted Lamar back. Okay, I would have to believe 90% of the people in Chicago are hoping that he goes. I mean,
but why? I don't.
Why? Let me see.
I get it. I just said he was mentally soft, but
right, a chance to knock a division rival out of the playoffs. Okay, and Justin comes up with this monster game of 11 for 16, 148 yards, no picks, no TDs. He did nothing to help his team win, and they did they did give him, a little bit of weaponry, this year. They went out and got DJ Moore.
DJ Moore had a great year.
He had a wonderful year. But he had great games when Justin had great games.
Sure.
But we talked about it last week. The inconsistency, Justin Fields just can't get it done on a regular basis in the NFL. I'm sorry, that's my opinion,
Yep.
But my opinion is based on the stats. I mean,
we got our resident Bears fan Larry checking in. He said if Caleb actually enters the draft, the Bears can't pass him up. Now,
I agree.
I want to agree. After seeing him crying in his mama's arms after the USC loss, like, dude, what was that about?
Well,
Like,
from a talent standpoint, Caleb Williams, has it all. I mean,
he's a strange bird, man.
a lot of what I read though is he's a cancer in the locker room,
Yeah.
which no team needs. But
They also need a quarterback that could play, and I would think that Fields would have a pretty decent trade market. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next couple months as we get closer to draft time. But Prophet, the Monday after the season, it's called Black Monday for a reason. A lot of people lose their jobs, and even though they're making millions of dollars, you never want to see anybody hit the unemployment line. But like I said, there's been a lot of movement so far here in the NFL, and we're going to talk about one that just broke right before we came on in college because it needs to be discussed. But there's been a lot of coaching changes, and let's take a minute to talk about these coaching changes, and maybe if you have somebody in mind who might be a potential fit, or if you see the guys who are fired maybe landing somewhere, kind of throw that in there too. First of all, we had, it feels like forever ago that the Panthers fired Frank Reich. They fired him during the season. It never really, I don't think it really helped. It didn't light a fire under them or nothing. The Panthers never really turned it on, but they got some. I heard today that Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, interviewed for the Panthers job, and the Eagles fans up here are like, good, take him. Like, we don't want him here either. So I don't know what's going on there. But have you heard anything about that Panthers job, or no? Would you have anybody you would consider for that job, or no?
no, right now, no. But let me just run down this list real quick, and I'm going to tell you where these guys are going to land next year. Okay. Frank Reich, XFL. Josh McDaniels, maybe high school. Staley, he'll be lucky to coach the midgets. Arthur Smith, be lucky to coach the midget program. Ron Rivera is probably going to get another job in the NFL, as will Vrabel. Pete Carroll, good for you, man. I'm glad you finally hung up your cleats. You're 72 years old, man. That's a brutal job for somebody that age, and Nick Saban also.
I obviously, like, I coach. I don't coach on that level. My blood pressure is through the roof during the football season. And I'm just coaching high school, and I'm not saying that it's nothing to scoff at because I'm still coaching, but to be doing that at 72 years, like, I'm 35 years old, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, how much longer can I do this? Like, and these guys are older than my grandparents. Well, not my grandparents, but they're older than you, Prophet.
Yeah.
And they're out there doing this stuff week in and week out.
16, 18 hours a day during the season. It's like,
yeah,
it's a brutal life. And, I'm glad I really am happy for Carroll and Saban that they finally.
Talking about the Raiders, I think if they don't, I spelled it wrong, but if they don't give that job to Pierce, I think they're out of their mind. I think he earned that job taking over for them at the end of the year there. Chargers, who knows what's going to happen. Falcons, it's just going to be another revolving door. Some coordinator is going to get that. You said Ron Rivera is going to end up somewhere. I don't think I don't see it. I don't think his tenure in Washington was great, and then he had a really bad last few years in Carolina. So it'll be interesting to see. The one guy that I do think gets a job out of here is Vrabel, pretty easily. I was kind of shocked when I saw that today. It was today, right?
Yeah.
I was pretty shocked when I saw that today, that they let him go. You said you saw it coming. I don't know how you saw it coming, but you did.
Well, I'm from Tennessee. I got, the inside out to, what goes on here. So I mean, my sources were telling me that it was in the works, and
Yeah. Well, we go from winning Coach of the Year or whatever it was to getting fired the next year. Um, it's pretty, like you said, pretty groundbreaking stuff. I was kind of shocked to see that.
this is it's Slinger. Man, this is a what have you done for me lately league, and it's getting worse. I mean, we talked about Mike Tomlin last week, and you know you were kind of taken aback when I said that they could move on from him.
I think so too, Larry.
But I mean, it's always what have you done for me lately, and
Yeah, but at some point, these teams have got to see that this changing the head coach every 3 years doesn't work either. So, you're talking about rebuilding the culture. You're talking about guys learning your system, because it's NFL system. It's going to take a while to learn as it is. So it's not. I don't think changing the coach every few years is an answer either. But
I didn't say I agreed with it. I just said that
Right.
that's what's going on now.
there are rumors out there that potentially Harbaugh might wind up in Seattle or one of these openings now that he won the national title at Michigan.
Who cares?
I don't know if I see that happening. I'm not a big Harbaugh fan, but yes, I do. Nick Saban hung it up today, and as a Bama fan, I was very surprised to see this. I knew, I guess, the years were numbered. I didn't think it was this year, but there are rumors out there that there's rumors out there that there might be some health issues in the family, not necessarily him, but possibly going on with Mrs. Saban. But I don't know that to be factual, but I have seen that a couple places. So I hope all is well with him. I hope that he's retiring on his own merit, enjoying life. Saban, I don't think there's anything else you need to prove in the world, in the coaching world. Pretty much done it all, especially in the college world anyway. But that brings me to my next point, Prophet. And I got into a heated discussion with sorry, I'm holding that off. Just got a text message. Speaking of coaching changes, just got a text message from my old buddy, and I'll give you a shout out on the air. I'm sure you don't watch this, but I'll shout it out anyway. My old buddy Duke Greco, the head coach at Delaware Valley University, just shot me a text message. He just landed the job, got announced today. He is the new head coach at Division II Westchester University. So congratulations to Duke.
Congratulations, Duke.
Love you. Great influence in my coaching life, great influence in my personal life. I'm happy for you. Congratulations, brother. And I'm glad that you texted me back. And
He's a pretty good handicapper too.
we're going to keep that on keep that on the down low for now. But the next, we got into a heated exchange here with my buddies in the group chat about Bill Belichick. And some guys swore by him, and some guys said that he was overrated, and he's a product of the system, and the system being Tom Brady. Prophet, before I show the next slide, where do you stand on this fence here, on this side of the fence? Do you think Bill Belichick is a great NFL head coach, or do you think Bill Belichick is a product of Tom Brady's system?
Well, okay, it's on the marquee. Is Belichick overrated? I say no. But I will say Brady is underrated. If we're going to go that way, Brady is underrated, even though he's considered the GOAT by many. Okay, Belichick over the years, he had Brady. There's no doubt about it. But he brought guys in that, were once good players and they were in the twilight of their career, and he got another year or two out of them and to help their team, win these Super Bowls. Guys like Randy Moss, Rodney Harrison, just to name a couple. That was his doing. That wasn't Tom Brady. No, is Belichick overrated? I do not say he's overrated. But I do say that, Brady had a lot to do with, with New England and Belichick being doing what they did all them years.
Now,
for
Prophet,
sure.
Prophet, I would usually agree with you here, okay? But facts are damn stubborn things, and I'm about to drop some facts on you and all the Belichick morons out there to think that he's the best coach in NFL history, which he's not. All right, and I think he's proven that over the past few years. Okay, this is courtesy of MSN.com. Bill Belichick's wins and losses, here we go, and winning percentage and Super Bowl titles as head coach. Bill Belichick's wins and losses with Tom Brady: 249 wins, 75 losses, and a .7 or 7, basically a 77% winning percentage. I would struggle with numbers sometimes.
Nah.
77% winning percentage, 6 Super Bowl titles. Without Tom Brady, he is 84 and 103 as an NFL head coach, a 44% winning percentage. Okay?
Yeah, but
so now
many...
he's I'm not done. When he's 249 and 75 with Brady at quarterback, with any other quarterback at the helm. Let's just read off a few here. With Mac Jones, he's 18 and 24. With Bernie Kosar, he's 11 and 18. With Cam Newton, he's 7 and 8. With Drew Bledsoe, he's 5 and 13. With Jacoby Brissett, he's 1 and 1. With Vinny Testaverde, he's 17 and 16. He's very, very mediocre with these numbers. It tells me that Bill Belichick, while he had a great run with Tom Brady, was a product that was not Belichick's team, it was Brady's team. And Belichick didn't bring those players there. Brady got those players there. And Brady got the best out of them because Brady could make a bad person look good, in my opinion. That's where I stand with this whole thing.
Slinger, I'm not one to disagree with you on a regular basis, but you're wrong there. Number one, his one-loss record. The only thing that matters when you're comparing New England is the last 3 years in New England, not what he did 35 years ago in Cleveland.
Yes, it is. I'm just saying, how is he as a head coach? Yeah, but is he building a program? Like, you're talking about building programs. He was in Cleveland for a long time.
He got lucky with Brady.
Not a long time, but
he got lucky with Brady, okay? And he put a team around Brady. We talk about it. We just talked about it, man. Lamar Jackson could have been the greatest quarterback in the world, and you don't know until you put somebody around him.
My point is, somebody made a comment that they wouldn't want to see Belichick come to Philadelphia, and they're not a Philly fan. They're not an Eagles fan. I don't want him to go to Philly. Well, why not? He'll just run everybody off. He's old school. Nobody buys into that mentality anymore, and he can't connect with the younger player. That's where he's at right now in his career. And he's still the coach of the Patriots, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're discussing. The topic is he overrated? And I say no, he ain't overrated.
All right. Well, we got to move on. I get what you're saying, Prophet, but we got other things to get to. We'll just leave it as we agree that he is overrated, and that's pretty much where we stand on it. So
right, we'll agree that he's not overrated. Right.
I didn't hear what. Anyway, we're moving on, and you know what time it is, Prophet. It is time for our weekly roundup. Where's our song at? I was gonna say I can't find my song.
Oh man,
it's the best part.
There we go.
Go, baby. It's time for the weekly roundup. There's
every time I hear that, the outlaw Josie Wales jumps into my head, man.
I don't know who that is. First up on the roundup here, Prophet. To no surprise to anybody, I don't think, Michigan wins the national title in convincing fashion.
Except you.
Did I pick Washington?
Yeah, you did.
I didn't mean to. If I did. That wasn't even a game from the beginning. I fell asleep, didn't watch the end of it. Congratulations to Mr. Harbaugh. for winning, half your games this year because you only coached 7 or 8 games because you were suspended for the other games because you don't know how to follow the rules. Did you watch any of the championship game, Prophet?
Yeah, I saw into about the third quarter, and when I fell asleep, it actually was a game. I mean, it wasn't as close as the score, but Washington was only down 17-10 at half, and
I did see that. I think I saw it till halftime.
Yeah, and then Michigan went up 20-10, and so Washington was still in the game until the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
but no, Michigan dominated them.
I mean, there's a new sheriff in town, obviously, and it's going to be interesting to see how college football plays out with Saban stepping down now, and there's a lot of changes. That means somebody high profile is going to go fill that Alabama void. And we got the 12-team playoffs starting next year, so it's really anybody's game. It's all up for grabs. Prophet.
For sure.
Do I think that the championship game hurts Penix in the draft? It could. Yeah, I as good as he looked, I think in the first week or in the first playoff game, I don't think he was. From what I saw, Larry, and I really only saw the first half. But he didn't look anywhere near as good as he was in the semifinal game. So we'll see how that goes moving forward.
He missed a couple open receivers, and you know what was even worse than that, Larry, was he looked a little baffled and nervous back there with Michigan's pass rush and all.
Yep. And all right, moving on here. We're going to talk about the Lions. Detroit bounces back and takes care of the Vikings after that fluky victory over the Cowboys, the fluky loss 2 weeks ago to the Cowboys. The Vikings were able to, the Lions were able to take care of business. They secured that 3rd seed. They got a home playoff game, and they played well, Prophet. I think they played how they've been playing. They've been playing pretty good football. What do you think about what they did on Sunday? And is this what you expected out of them, or maybe did the Vikings let down a little bit?
No, I loved the outcome for sure. I mean, I actually thought they were going to win the game a little more handily, though. The game was up in the air until the fourth, midway through the fourth quarter. And I was surprised, especially after Laporta getting hurt, that Campbell kept his starters in there.
Yeah, I don't think there was a whole lot. There was not much. They couldn't move anywhere, right?
Well, they could have, but they would have needed Dallas and the Eagles to both lose. So,
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, Laporta is out with a hyperextended knee. We'll see how long that takes, but that could be a big blow to them. We'll check it out moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, the Jaguars, and this is actually good for you, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. But this was good for you from the Texans' behalf, but. The Jaguars, they crumble like an overcooked muffin, Prophet. There's nothing worse than that. You get a nice corn muffin coming out of the oven, and it's dry, and it just crumbles in your hand because it's overcooked, and that's what these Jaguars did. I'll tell you who else is overcooked is the Jaguars staff, because there's pretty much none of them left except the one that probably should be gone, and that's the offensive coordinator, Press Taylor. Doug Peterson fired most of his staff today or yesterday, but you talk about a collapse. What the hell happened in Jacksonville?
Sunshine just didn't live up to the billing this year. I mean, as good as he played last year, it just didn't happen this year. He didn't win a big game. Like, they played some tough teams early on, Kansas City, San Francisco. What I think Jacksonville needs is I think Khan needs to get them over to England, because they play really well in England.
What a miss! Oh man, that would be terrible. And that's such BS. And I'm not going down that road right now, but like to put a team overseas, and I'm not talking about, no offense to nobody, but there is no international players playing on an NFL team, and if there are, they're very few. But to make an NFL team be home over there, and you get drafted, and now you got to move to England. Come on, man, that is not fair, and it's not something I want to see happen. But unfortunately, I think it's going to happen. But how do you do that to people? It ain't like you're growing up in Florida and you got to go move to California.
You paid them in euros, many euros.
It's not good business, Prophet.
I know.
Anyway, so we're talking about it. Listen, they were one of my plays last week. I really thought they were going to come out and show me some kind of fight, but they didn't. The Eagles can't bounce back, and they fall to the Giants. They don't fall to the Giants. They get absolutely embarrassed by the Giants, a team that was looking to be on the golf course, quite frankly, rather than play this game. They came out, they showed no fight. They played their starters at the beginning because they're still in it. They still wanted to win the division. You know, they just looked bad, and they looked bad from the start. And then you get to a certain point where Dallas is up by a certain amount. You take the starters out, but holy crap, Prophet, what's going on in Philly? Are they going to be able to do anything in the playoffs here? And don't talk about that.
We've been talking about it for weeks now. I mean, this team is in turmoil. They are a bad football team, and
you say bad football team, and the reality is they're 11-6.
They're 11-6, but they were 11-1, and weren't they?
Yeah, now they were 10-1, I think.
10-1.
But and it's funny because one of my buddies mentioned that the Dolphins were in the same boat, and the Dolphins are now 11-6. But nobody's talking about McDaniel the way they're talking about Sirianni or the Eagles, which is it's an interesting argument. It's a valid argument.
Well, it is, but the key here is that the Eagles have won one game in their last 6, okay, where Miami's winning a game, losing a game, winning a game, losing a game, so it's not as noticeable.
Yeah, no, and that's what I said. I said it's like you said, they're on and off. They're not getting a bunch of losses in a row, but we'll see, man. They don't have an easy matchup, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Buffalo goes into Miami, takes care of business, takes the AFC East.
Did they?
Profit.
Did they? They did that? Wow, I would have never seen that happen.
Houston wins the division. Nah, Buffalo's a team to beat right now. They're hot, man. They really are. I counted them out. I said the first show we did, bold prediction. I said Buffalo's going to miss the playoffs. Well, they showed me. I guess maybe Allen does have a little bit left in the tank there, and I know that's going to irk some souls on this podcast, but we'll see. Yeah, should be a good game this weekend, though.
I'll tell you what. I've said it. I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. I honestly think Buffalo is the only team that can beat the Ravens moving forward.
We shall see. We shall see. And then Houston wins the division, and with the help of a Jaguars loss, Houston, man, the Cinderella story of the season, or what, Prophet? Or does that go to the Browns, or what do you think?
No, I think you gotta. Nobody expected Houston to be where they're at. Cleveland had the potential. New coach in Houston, new quarterback, new this, new that. You kind of figured you had to figure them for maybe a 7-win season, and here they are, AFC South champions. I mean, good for them, man. Kudos to them.
Sure, and they probably play the most exciting game that I'm looking forward to this weekend, honestly, and we'll talk about that here coming up. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for our weekly roundup segment. Prophet, did you have any questions this week, or did anybody kind of write into you, or they stopped that now that fantasy football is over?
No, not fantasy football wise, but I did get a couple emails.
All right, well, let's hear them then.
Okay, well, this email comes from Don't Like Dad Jokes, and she says, Prophet, you're killing us with your dad jokes. Do you think you could take a little break from telling them? My response is, well, don't. You're aware that giving out free winners and telling dad jokes are a big part of who the Prophet is, right? For you, though, I'll take a short break from telling the dad jokes. That being said, A doctor office opened up down here in Tennessee not too long ago, and the doctor's charging $500 to go in, and he's guaranteeing that he can cure anything. If he can't cure you, he'll give you $1,000. Well, one of these hillbillies down here, they figured, hey, I'm going to go in and get $1,000 real easy. He walked in, says to the doc, I have no taste. Can you help me? Doc tells his nurse, grab vial number 3. He take a swig of this. He spits it out. That's gasoline. You owe me $500. He comes back the next day. He says, Doc, I can't hear. Can you help me? And Doc turns around, tells the nurse, grab vial 3. Vial 3, that's gasoline. Don't grab that one. You're cured. There's $500. The next day he walks in and he says, Doc, I can't see. The doctor's examining him, can't figure anything wrong with him, takes a wad of money out of his pocket and he puts 10 $1 bills in his hand. Guy says, that's only $10. He said, you're cured. Where's my $500?
Oh, Prophet. Always good for a couple corny jokes. Corny dad jokes.
Yeah,
we
but it wasn't a dad joke. So that was just a regular old corny joke. So we're fine with those, Prophet. If you want to go on with them, we're good. We're moving on. We got a lot to cover this week. We're going to cover every playoff game. All right. So instead of just picking a couple, we're going to hit every one. And the first one up is the game that I'm really looking forward to, Prophet. And I did these games in order of viewing time. So this is our Saturday afternoon game. We got the Browns going to Houston. Browns coming in at 11-6. We talked about Houston coming in at 10-7. The over/under is 44.5. Cleveland 2.5-point favorites here. Prophet, I'm riding. I understand that the Texans have been on a good run this year. All right, what Stroud's been able to do, what D'Amico Ryans been able to do, what that defense has been able to do, has been nothing short of, I don't want to say amazing, but surprising, and it's a pleasant surprise. It really is. But on the other hand, there's a bigger surprise coming out of Cleveland, and that's the resurgence of Joe Flacco and his career. And I'm here for it. I am here for it. I'm excited about it. Like I said, I think this is going to be a good game. This is going to be a tough game. It should be a close one, but I think that the Browns and I think Flacco come out on top on this one. And I got the Browns in a relatively. I think I got the Browns 21-17 here, in a good hard fought game that's going to kick off Wild Card Weekend in a great fashion. What do you think? I too am looking forward to this game. It's not my top game of the weekend from a viewing standpoint, but hey, these two teams played 3 weeks ago, and Cleveland beat them 36-22. The only difference between that game and this game is a kid called C.J. Stroud, and Stroud wasn't in that game. I personally don't see a difference here this week, though, with Stroud playing. Houston can't run the ball. And against that defense, if you're going to be one-dimensional, you're going to be in for a long day. I see the Browns winning this game 37-21.
37-21. You got an offensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing that's changing except making it better for more points even than what happened 3 weeks ago. Yeah, like I said.
All right.
But Houston's my team. I mean, Houston, I like them.
I
They
get
won me
you. I
lots
got
of
it.
money.
Yep, I know. Moving on to the next game, Saturday night game. This one, Prophet, has got a whole lot of elements to it. All right, we got the Dolphins visiting Kansas City Chiefs. Dolphins come in 11-6. They took a loss to the Bills. Chiefs are 11-6, but they've just stumbled into this 11-6 record this year. They haven't looked clean all year, pretty much. They got the over/under at 44.5, and Kansas City's a 4-point favorite here. Prophet, the game temperature in Kansas City at kickoff time is supposed to be 0 degrees. That's not a feel-like temperature. That's an air temperature. To the point where maybe they should consider not playing this game Saturday night or moving the location. This game is going to be, you talk about a quagmire from a hurricane standpoint. This game is going to be the equivalent of that. If they play the game, which I guess they are, in Kansas City, I got the Chiefs in this one simply from the fact that the Dolphins aren't going to be able to handle it. Chiefs have, they're used to the weather a little bit, I guess. Prophet, I can see this game being a 12-7 or 12-8. Like I just don't see, like they're talking about snow, they're talking about ice, they're talking about below 0 temperatures. It's just not conducive for a offensive slugfest.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, I agree with you there, but I don't know. The schedule makers weren't good to either of these two teams by no means, putting this game on a Saturday night for starters. They had the advanced weather. Why this game isn't being played at 1 o'clock on Sunday? It still would have been cold, but it wouldn't have been bitter like this. Hey, these two teams played earlier this year in Germany, and Kansas City beat them by a touchdown. Kansas City is getting lucky by having the Dolphins come to town, because the Dolphins are reeling. Not being reeled in, but they are reeling. And we have a situation in the NFC also that I'm going to touch on similar to this. If it was any other team, even Pittsburgh, I think Kansas City's in for a long day. But I got Kansas City winning this game 28-10. I'm hoping, okay, because last week we saw that they can win a game without somebody in the booth, in the box, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Maybe she stays home this week because it's going to be too cold.
Prophet, why do you have to bring her up every time we talk about the Chiefs? Travis Kelce didn't even play.
Right. So that's why she did.
So
that's loyalty to the team.
Yeah, okay.
That's
so she had
to the team.
There was a story out there that she had a booth, a suite at SoFi. Who they play? Where they play? LA.
Yeah, they played.
Yeah,
the
she had a suite and then canceled it once they found out Travis wasn't playing. Dave chimes in. Dave says, "Remember the Eagles-Lions snow game? The over flew in that game."
Yeah, it did.
And then Larry basically tells Prophet to shut the hell up and says, afternoon would have been 10 degrees, Prophet. No real difference there. Thank you, Larry, for finally telling him what I've been telling him for the last friggin' 7 weeks. We're moving on.
Yeah.
This one, we got a dud here. Or no, we got a stud here. Prophet stud. The Bills. I can't even get excited for this game. The Steelers taking on the Bills in Buffalo. This is our Sunday afternoon game. Steelers come in 10-6. Buffalo 11-5. The over/under is a whopping 36.5. Buffalo 10-point favorites here. I got Buffalo in this one by about 14 to 16 points. Let's say Buffalo 28, Steelers 10. How many points is that?
18.
18. What I say? 14
hey, you were within a dozen, so that was good for you.
All right. Yeah, I don't need to hear that shit. I got the Bills. I got the Bills big here. Dude. I just don't. I mean, your boy Mason Rudolph. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you got two hot teams, going up against each other. The funny thing is, the conditions are supposed to be bad here too, and the over/under is reflective of that with the 36.5. You had 44.5 in Kansas City. I don't know. I think Rudolph's shine ends this week, but I think it's going to be a closer game. Losing Watt is going to hurt them. I got Buffalo 27-21 in this game.
Ooh, close one, kind of. So Buffalo doesn't cover. You got the Steelers covering them.
Oh yeah, but we don't do point spreads in this. This is just
No, I don't. I'm just talking about from a betting perspective because the name of our show is Sling'n Proffet. So I'm talking about a betting perspective, Prophet. So why don't you stop being such a smart ass all the time and take what I'm saying?
Well, you keep on siding with the listeners and all and bashing me. What else? Well, I can't bash the listeners. I got to bash you.
The wind is supposed to be brutal. Dave said we called that Bills W last week, Prophet. Chingle, chingle.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Sunday night game. Yeah, Sunday night game. Talk about another snoozer. This is a snoozer for me. It's not. I can tell that. I know that tomorrow, the Monday night game is not going to be your game of the week. So, ironically, this has got to be your game of the week, right?
Well, this is a 4:00 game, not the night game. But go ahead.
Yes, it is. No. They go, I'm sorry. Where are we at? What game did we just do? The Bills game's at 4:00. The Cowboys game is at 8:00 Sunday. That's how it's going, Prophet. Yes.
No, Cowboys are at 4:30 in Detroit, and the Rams are at 8:00 Sunday night.
Oh, there's 3 Sunday. That's right. On 2 Saturday. My fault. All right. So yeah, I mean, I'm not big on the Packers here at all. You got the Packers coming in 9-8. Cowboys are 12-5. The Cowboys offense hasn't they've been on fire all pretty much since week 6. Over unders 50.5. Dallas is 7.5 point favorites. Prophet, I think Dallas comes in and I think they cover this easy. I say probably, I could see this going 31-17 in Dallas's favor.
Well, Green Bay's won the last 4 games in this series, and they've all been high-scoring games. Now, granted, they were all with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback for Green Bay, but Dallas should be able to run the ball this week, which is going to open up the passing game even more. I just don't like Green Bay's chances here. I actually have them. I have Dallas winning 38-17.
Oh, 38-17.
Yeah, not 31.
Kind of similar then, huh, Prophet?
Kind of similar.
All right. We're moving on here. We're plowing through these games, man. Green Bay, Dave said Green Bay. Dave's a huge Cowboys fan for the record, and Dave said Green Bay gives him PTSD. So we're maybe this is Prophet's a game of the week. We got the Rams going into Detroit, the blue-collar city. Rams come in with a 10-7 record, visiting those Lions 12-5, over under 51.5. Detroit coming in at 3-point favorites. Now, before we get into this, our old host, our buddy Brandon, sent me something. I wasn't able to get it on the show, but I do want to read it off my phone. He sent me a screenshot, and what it is, it's a comparison of Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, the 2 starting quarterbacks of these teams, since the 2021 trade between the Rams and the Lions. So you got Matthew Stafford on the left. He'll be the first number. Jared Goff on the right. He'll be the second number. Total number of wins, Stafford 24, Jared Goff 24. Completion percentage, Stafford 66%, Jared Goff 66%. Passing touchdowns, Stafford 75 passing touchdowns, Jared Goff 78 passing touchdowns. Turnovers, Stafford 41 turnovers, Jared Goff 41 turnovers. And overall passer rating, Stafford 95.8 and Jared Goff 96.5. So, did these guys just swap the same exact player, or what the heck happened there? Because it seems like they're pretty similar to me in those numbers there.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. They're pretty similar for sure. But guess what? Matthew Stafford would not have a Super Bowl had he stayed in Detroit, and Jared Goff would not be doing what he's doing with Detroit had he stayed in L.A. I mean, that trade was beneficial for both of these guys. I mean, it rejuvenated their careers. I mean, Stafford was always a good player, just never had anything around him. I actually I I did not know that the numbers were that close, but I'm not surprised either.
Um, I think it's going to be a really good game, and Dave thanks Dave for chiming in and being a vocal member of the audience tonight, as long as as well as Larry. But Dave said two former quarterbacks playing each other. Just looking forward to this game I'm sorry, the quarterbacks of two teams playing each other. Just looking forward to this game as a football fan. I think we all are. It's going to be a good game. I got the Lions in this one. I'm just on the Dan Campbell train. I think they, with their dynamic running attack between Montgomery and Gibbs, and then both of those guys being weapons out of the backfield in the receiving game, and then Goff just being, playing lights out and kind of a career resurgence for him. He's kind of flown under the radar, for a long time. And I just think that this Lions offense is fun to watch. And who would have thought that an old fullback from an 0-16 Lions team could have this city so rejuvenated, man. And Dan Campbell's doing that. So I got the Lions in this one. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I got the Lions probably, let's say, 31-27.
Very nice. Well, this was my game of the week, and I actually think this has the ability to become an instant classic, this game. Stafford has played against Goff in 21, the year of the trade in L.A., but this is the first time he's gone back home since that trade now. And the Rams won that game 28-19, I believe it was. I don't think they're going to be as lucky this time around. I think losing Laporta is really going to hurt Detroit moving
Is he
forward.
out? Has he been?
No, he's not been.
I mean, you're talking about a
out.
hyperextended knee. If nothing's torn, they could brace it up, but who knows?
Yeah, but it's still going to slow him down,
right?
To say the least. But I've actually got Detroit winning this game 38-37 on a missed extra point by our friend Brett Maher, who is kicking for the Rams, and his playoff woes will continue.
Wow, you heard it here first. 38-37 Lions on a missed extra point, Prophet. If you hit that one, somebody, FBI might be coming to your house for a search and seize or something like that. I don't know. Moving on, and how the hell this game got the Monday night game, I don't know. Personally, I'd rather be watching WW wrestling on Monday night than watching this slop fest. But you got the Philadelphia Eagles heading down to Tampa Bay to take on those pesky Tampa Bay Buccaneers that put up such a great fight. When I talk about them high enough, I try and give Baker some friggin' kudos, and he goes out and lays an egg and sucks. But you got the Eagles who are limping through this season, who don't show any signs of life or wanting to continue playing. But you got to think it's the playoffs. It's anything can happen now. It is a new season, and they got their mascot back. They got Big Dom back on the sideline this week. Who knows what's going to happen? I know what I want to happen. And you talk about on the show betting, playing with your head and not your heart. I don't play with my head. You know what I'm saying? Betting with your head and not, let's say, picking with your head and not your heart. I'm picking the Buccaneers. I'm taking the Buccaneers. The Eagles are 3-point favorites. I'm taking the Buccaneers, and it's going to be like 20-14 or 17-14 or something like that. It's going to be some stupid score. It's going to be a stupid game. It's going to be boring to watch. But I got the Buccaneers because I just want the Eagles to be put out of their misery.
Well, it's scary because I think we agreed on every game.
Did we?
I think so. The Eagles won this game in Tampa Bay in Week 3, 25-11, and they're two different teams playing. Um, I don't know. I do not believe the Eagles should be favored against anybody in this league right now, let alone a division winner, albeit the NFC South. They have to go into Tampa Bay and they're favored. I mean, this team is bad. This team is they're like Kansas City in the respect that they got a real easy draw, or the easiest draw that they could have possibly gotten, and Tampa Bay is still going to beat them, 20-17.
20-7. Oh, we put almost that same score too. Prophet, that wraps up our picks, man.
No, it doesn't. Doesn't. No, it wraps up the picks, but it doesn't wrap up the standings here.
Oh crap!
After a 1-3 week last week, Slinger's now 12-14 on the year.
Oh my God, 12-14.
Yeah, and after a 3-1 week last week, I'm 18-7 on the year.
18-7. Holy crap, Prophet!
Yeah, I don't
Good
think
job,
you're going
man.
to catch me.
I'll tell you what, though, but you might be 18-7, but you did not have a good week off of your bounce back week from a playing standpoint. And if you know what I'm talking about playing, I'm talking about a little bit of the betting, a little bit of the green, a little bit of the gambling. But I'll tell you what, who's got green? Who's got green, Prophet? That's a lot of green up on the Slingers board there. All right.
I see the same amount of green on mine.
Nope. It's just how I decorated the board. But in these three here, my first pick was Houston -1. That went over by a lot. I'm sorry. That was a good pick. I know. Pat myself on the back. Where I did slip up a little bit. All right. I picked those Eagles at -5. I thought they were going to show me a little life. I expected a little bit more out of the Eagles, and that was a bad miscalculation on my part. So I lost there. And then I'll tell you what, my college basketball parlays, they're notorious now. People were just playing them. They're just riding them because they do nothing but hit. All right. So Central Connecticut, Little Rock, and James Madison came to play that night. And I put 25 on it and I got myself $1.75 back. So I started with last week with 288. I gained myself a total of $144. I'm back up to $432 profit. I'm almost back to even, buddy. Almost back to even. You, on the other hand, talk about your picks from last week.
Well, my top pick was a pretty easy cover with Detroit, and I said it in week 1. Parlays, don't play them. They're loser sucker bets, and I went with the over in the Seattle game, and it came within 6 points of being hit, but it was never in question. That was a loss right from the get go. And then I parlayed the two teams, and you lose one straight up, you lose the parlay too. So
yep.
I went 1 and 2. I lost 110 for the week, and I'm sitting at. In the black at plus 755. Well, in the green.
Well, you're at plus 255, right?
Yeah, well, 255 for the year, right.
Anyway, we're moving on to this week. I got new life. I got, you get that, you walk through the casino and you get a little hit, and you get that swagger back. You get a little chip on your shoulder. Hey, I got life. Let's go put it all on red, baby. And that's what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to put it on red. Actually, I'm going to put it on brown. I got Cleveland here, -2.5. Give me $50 to win 94 back. I think the Browns are going to go in there. I think Flacco's going to light them up. I think that the Browns will win this one, like I said, by about 5 points. I know everybody's waiting for it, Prophet. My college basketball parlay. Cross your fingers, pal. This is this one, a little close to my heart here. This one's tomorrow night, so Thursday night college basketball parlay. We got the Hofstra Pride. All right, I got a little history with Hofstra.
Yeah, you do.
I got the Hofstra Pride coming in at -5.5. You writing this down?
Yeah, I am.
I got the Drexel Dragons coming in at -13.5. It's a big number, but I think they're playing North Carolina A&T, and North Carolina A&T has got 2 wins, I think, this year, and one of them is that St. Mary's school that we always talked about last year.
Yeah, the others against North Carolina B&T.
Yeah. And then I got Stony Brook, which I also have a history with. And, Stony Brook's coming in at +5 against Towson, who I have a history with.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of ties in this parlay here, Prophet. There's all kinds of ties in this parlay. Towson and Stony Brook have got the same record. Stony Brook's 5-point dog. I'm taking Stony Brook to cover. Give me 25 on this to win $177. And then finally, my last pick, I got the Chiefs and Dolphins going under 44. Give me 50 to win 95 on that. My balance after last week, like I said, was 432. It's 125 total wagered. I'm down to 307 now.
I guess
Prophet.
I'm up.
Prophet, you got anything? You can chime in on my picks first if you wanted to. But,
no, I like. I like Cleveland. I do. I hit your college basketball pick last week, your parlay last week.
The only thing that you wish is you put a little bit more money on it, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, you said to play 25. I played 25. So.
There you go.
But
so you got a nice little chunk then.
Yeah.
Now, Prophet, I'm looking through your picks, man. You're straying off the norm, all right? And I'm just going to I just want to get your explanation here. You said there's a method to your madness this week.
Well,
this is way off a base for you. So talk to us about what you're doing.
Okay. I play conservative all year, okay? And I hope to be up at the end of the year. And fortunately, the past 6, 7, 8 years, I have been. I always take my first week of the playoffs, and I get a little crazy. Do some things that I normally don't. Try and hit big. So this week I'm getting away. I'm shying away from what I normally do. But here we go. We're going to win some money this week, guys. Okay, stay with me. We're going to win some money. My top play is Dalton Kincaid, anytime touchdown scorer. Okay, Pitt's given up 8 TDs to tight ends this year, and Minka Fitzpatrick is still, very questionable for this game. Gabe Davis is out. Well, not out yet, but it's looking like he won't be playing this week. They're going to need somebody to pick up the slack, and Kincaid's going to do it. I'm laying 100 to win 460 on an anytime touchdown from Kincaid, which is an absolutely astronomical price at plus 360. My next play, this one's a little crazy for sure, but I'm going to that same Kansas City game, and I'm going to play Rashee Rice over 2 touchdowns. Rashee Rice the last 10, 12 weeks has been Mahomes' go-to guy. He's been the only guy that he can really rely on. And I can actually see, you like the over in this game. I don't like the over. I think Kansas City's going to score.
No. I like the under. I went under.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I think Kansas City's going to score. I think I said 28 points. And I think Rice is going to get 2 of them this week. And I'm wagering 50 to win 600 on that play. And finally, I just wanted to have some fun, and
yeah,
I sat here this afternoon, and I evaluated every game, and I come up with who I thought had the best chance of scoring in each game this week with the best odds available to me, and I put a 6-man anytime touchdown parlay together, and I've got David Njoku, Rashee Rice, Kincaid, CeeDee Lamb, Amon St. Brown, and Mike Evans. Now get this, I'm wagering 50 to win $9,675. Guys, that's 200 to 1 on the parlay. You don't have to wager $50 on that, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna ride those coattails. I'm not putting 50 down though.
But if you put 5 down and it hits, you're going to win $1,000. I'm not saying that I'm hitting all 3 of these bets this week, because the odds are that I'm not. I'm not saying I'm hitting 2 of them, but I do feel really good that I'm going to hit one of them. And if I hit one of them, then this is a plus week. We're going to put some money in our pockets.
Yeah, I mean, Proffet. Larry says you're hoping to get $10,735 out of this week, Proffet. That would be a huge, huge profit. Something that you might get a little knock, knock, knock on the door from your friends Tony Treetums and the IRS. Money, 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 money.
Yeah, what happened? What happened to the $1 Million Man?
Oh, Erwin R. Shyster. He's going to be coming knocking on your door there, Proffet. You better watch out. But
hopefully Tony Treetums.
Anyway, so that's our segment there. That's our plays of the week. Always entertaining because who doesn't love to win money here, Proffet? You know what I'm saying? And we've been on a little hot streak, I think. If I could say so ourselves. So I'm going to ride your coattails. I'm not going to put a 50 spot on that bet, but I am going to throw. I might throw 10 or 20 bucks on it. Who knows? But if it does hit, then I'll be a little. I'll be crying that I didn't hit.
Yeah,
or
for
put
10
the 50
bucks
spot
you
up
win
there.
almost 2,000.
Yeah.
I would get in now though if you're going to do it. Get in now, guys. The lines.
Once they get wind of this podcast too, it's the lines are always changing. So
we moved the Detroit line a point and a half after the show last week.
We sure did. We sure did
too.
And you know what time it is?
I don't love that. I don't love that.
It's our I don't love that segment, Proffet, and this week on the I don't love that segment, I'm going to kind of go first here, and it's nothing major, but I don't love, and I don't know, you guys all watch out there, you watch different podcasts and you tune in, and I watch podcasts too. I listen to podcasts and listen to different talk radio, and I think this kind of what we're doing is becoming a way of the world, just kind of broadcasting however you can and putting on a decent product, and I think we put on a decent product. But one of the shows that I do enjoy watching is the Pat McAfee show because I just love McAfee's energy and his ability to kind of say whatever the heck he wants without getting in trouble. I don't love Pat McAfee on ESPN. I don't love him being on ESPN anymore. I think what he did with his show originally kind of grew organically because he was himself. All right. He was able to do whatever the heck he wanted and say whatever the heck he wanted. And he would have Aaron Rodgers on his show and say whatever the heck he wanted and without fear of repercussion. Now he sells, I don't want to call him a sellout because I probably would do the same thing, but you go to, you take your show to ESPN and you say it's not going to change that much, but it has changed. It's become a watered down version of what it was. It's become a slightly more censored version of what it was. And I know that he just called out, the ESPN rep, but they had Aaron Rodgers on, and Aaron Rodgers comes on every Tuesday, and Aaron Rodgers came on last week and called out Jimmy Kimmel, for whatever reason, possibly being on the Epstein list or something like that. And basically Kimmel goes off and writes a whole monologue about him on his Tonight Show or whatever the hell his show's called. And Kimmel goes off on him, and it becomes huge national news. And now Aaron Rodgers is no longer welcome on the Pat McAfee show per ESPN. So I don't love Pat McAfee show or any of these shows going somewhere where you're going to have to worry about somebody telling you what you can and can't do. You built that show on your own, Pat. People will watch no matter where you are. All right. The money's not always the biggest thing. Just go back to being what you guys, how you guys got there and what made you get there. That's what I want to see again.
No, I couldn't agree with you more.
I mean, you talk about, you got a guy like Pat McAfee who has no filter, and then you're going to ESPN, who's one of, I'm not going to say it, but I don't even watch ESPN anymore hardly. But anyway.
Hopefully Joe Rogan doesn't follow the same path.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you got?
Well, I don't love that segment this week is I watch the show back every week, whether it be the next day, a couple of days later, and what I don't like, what I don't love, okay, is I'm constantly being cut off by you, Slinger. I get in. The people don't want to hear, take Buffalo, and that's it. I have to put out dialogue. I am a stat man. I got to tell them why they are taking Buffalo, not just take Buffalo. And, well, just like I just asked you a question, said something about, Tony Three Thumbs, and boom, you went right to money, 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 money. I get cut off all the time. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. That's all I have to say.
You don't, because you don't understand timelines, and you don't understand that we can't have a friggin' 2-hour show, and that people lose interest. It's more, the less is more. Pack more things in and talk about more topics in a shorter time frame than talking about dragging out, because guess what? If nobody wants to hear us talking about the Raiders versus the friggin' Celtics or whatever the hell games being played, they're going to tune out, Prophet. That's why I cut you off, because you need to understand. You need to understand television. If you want to go down that road, you need to understand television and get a better mic while you're at it.
Hey, let me reach out to Dave, okay? Dave said something about Buffalo, the Buffalo. Dave, would you have rather I had said just take Buffalo last week, or would you have rather I said take Buffalo and explain why I wanted you to take Buffalo? Please answer real quick.
No, but Dave's not watching anymore. Well, he might be. But anyway, Prophet, we got timelines. That's why I cut you off, all right? Not because I don't want to hear your voice. Although there's that. Yeah, see? Dave's not on anymore, so you're losing all your fans. We're going on to my favorite segment of the show, the last segment of the show. This day in history, Prophet. This is a good one today. We had a lot of historical monuments on this day here, January 10th. Let's check the comments one more time before we go on here. Larry always checking in. On this date, Prophet, in 2016, British singer and songwriter and actor David Bowie, who transformed himself from a traditional pop crooner into a transcending international superstar, passes away on this day in 2016. Were you a big David Bowie fan?
I liked his China Girl.
Some people might get that joke. I didn't get it. Anyway, in 1999, I'll save this one. I'm not ready for that one yet. In 1996, coming out of retirement, and this guy's been in the news a couple weeks ago, coming out of retirement, Jimmy Johnson is announced as the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Were you a Jimmy Johnson fan or no?
Nah, you know what? I couldn't handle his hair.
Yeah, I don't like Jimmy Johnson, man. I never really cared for him. Didn't like him in
them Cowboys.
Yeah, didn't like him in Dallas. Don't like his hair. Didn't like him a couple weeks ago. On this date, January 10th in 1994, the WWF Monday Night Raw celebrated its 1-year anniversary in Richmond, Virginia. The opening match saw the 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty defeat the Quebecers to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. Damn, 1-year anniversary in 1994, huh, Prophet?
Hard to believe. I mean, it's the longest running TV show going.
Well,
Monday Night Raw.
Simpsons might have something to say about that, but we'll talk.
No, they don't.
Yeah, it's the longest running weekly episodic television show, maybe. All right, well, you got to, clarify. You don't want to.
I didn't have time. You would have cut me off.
On this date in 1999, the first episode of The Sopranos aired on HBO, and the dramatic series, which starred James Gandolfini and Eddie Falco, was later widely hailed as an instant classic. Sopranos, on this date, 1999. Seems like just yesterday, doesn't it, Prophet?
It's amazing. And it's Edie Falco. It was a girl. It was a woman. Yeah.
Well, that'll explain that I've never seen the show before.
Oh, you got to watch it, man.
Well, I've tried before, and then I got rid of HBO. So now I'm trying to find a way to get HBO just so I can go back and watch the Sopranos. I want to rewatch The Wire. I got some other shows that I want to watch.
So many classic characters in that show, man. It's a great show.
Yep. They don't make them like they used to, huh?
Nope.
Anyway, hey, that'll wrap it up, man. That's week 7 in the books. We got a big weekend ahead. We got the playoffs. Join us this time next week. We're going to unwrap it all. We're going to talk about the playoffs. We're going to talk about our plays of the week. And who knows what, special guests we might be bringing on here. So join us next week. Again, appreciate you guys for having us. A big thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.